Final update, aita for telling my sister she's not allowed to bring her homemade food to Thanksgiving because her cooking is ruining the meal. Thanksgiving dinner is officially over, and I genuinely don't know where to start. I feel like I just lived through a fever dream of culinary chaos and family drama, and I need a moment to breathe before I can even process everything. My cousin and I are heading out for drinks to dissect all of it because honestly, what just happened deserves its own Netflix special. I'll post photos later when I get home, but for now, let me try to give you the rundown. So, my sister showed up earlier than expected, which I should have seen coming. She came in like a storm, carrying not just her 3 dishes but also this giant platter wrapped in foil, which she was clearly trying to make a big deal about. She immediately started rearranging the table, moving my dishes to the side so hers could take center stage. She even brought her own table runner and candles, saying something about setting the mood for a creative dining experience. I decided not to fight her on it because, at this point, I just wanted to get through the night without a blow-up. Her trio experience was, well, let's just say it was everything I feared and more. She started with a glittery sweet potato mash that somehow managed to taste like a mix of sugar and sand. The glitter wasn't even edible glitter, it was craft glitter, which I didn't realize until one of the kids said, "This is crunchy," and I looked closer. Then there was the cranberry and oyster relish. Yes, oysters and cranberries. It looked like someone had spilled jam into clam chowder, and the smell alone was enough to make me lose my appetite. Finally, she brought a pumpkin curry casserole that had raisins in it for some reason and this weird fishy smell that clung to the air for way too long. But the piece de resistance was her surprise centerpiece dish, which turned out to be a turkey gelatin mold. Yes, she took ground turkey, mixed it with some kind of broth and seasonings, and turned it into a wobbly, translucent mold shaped like a turkey. She even garnished it with parsley and cherry tomatoes to make it festive. I wish I were kidding. The entire table went silent when she unveiled it, except for my cousin, who immediately started coughing to cover up what I'm pretty sure was a laugh. Things hit their peak when my mom, who has been defending her this entire time, took one bite of the gelatin mold and just froze. She didn't say anything, but you could see the regret on her face. My sister, noticing the lack of enthusiasm, decided to go on this long speech about how Thanksgiving food is too boring and how she's trying to challenge our palates. She even called my ham and mashed potatoes uninspired, which was rich coming from someone serving glitter sand potatoes. The breaking point came when my aunt, who's usually the peacekeeper, tried the gelatin mold and actually gagged. She tried to be polite about it, but my sister saw her reaction and completely lost it. She started yelling about how nobody in the family supports her and how we're all stuck in the past with our unoriginal food. She even accused me of sabotaging her dishes by not hyping them up enough to everyone. At this point, half the table was trying not to laugh, and the other half was just staring at their plates, probably wondering how we got here. My sister ended up storming out of the house, but not before saying something along the lines of, "You'll regret not appreciating my vision when I'm famous." She left most of her food behind, which my cousin and I quietly threw out after dinner. The rest of the night actually turned out pretty nice once the tension was gone. My dad's emergency ham was a lifesaver, and everyone agreed that next year, we're either going to a restaurant or just skipping Thanksgiving altogether. So now I'm sitting here wondering how this even became my life. I'll post photos later because you all need to see the turkey gelatin mold to believe it, but for now, I'm off to grab a drink, or 3, with my cousin to laugh/cry over everything that went down. This Thanksgiving was truly something else, and I don't know whether to feel relieved it's over or brace myself for whatever fresh chaos my sister has planned for next year. Stay tuned for photos, it's going to be worth it.
My husband, 30M, wants to go on a trip to have one last fun night before we try for kids, saying my past wrongs is the reason. What do I, 29F, do? Husband, 30M, and I, 29F, have been together since high school. A year into the relationship, I regrettably cheated. I was stupid and regretted the whole thing, so I told my now husband, boyfriend at the time, the day right after. Now I'm not saying that me coming out clean makes things easier or better. It didn't. I begged him to forgive me and to stay. For half a year, we were not together. And after 6 months, we decided to try restart our relationship. It took a lot of work and was definitely hard getting through the first few years. But after we healed, years later, we got happily married. Now we are 6 years married, and planning to try for a kid next year. After the terrible ordeal at the start of our dating relationship, we have figured out how to communicate with each other and have built trust. So I don't know if this is because we have such great communication that he expressed this to me before we have a kid. He wants to go on a trip to have one fun night. Mind you, he said something a bit more vulgar, but we have potty mouths naturally. He used my former mistake as reason for this, that he in some way deserves it. Now, I just stood at the sink doing the dishes, speechless. Like, where did all my good communication go in that moment? Because I did not know how to tell him how much I hated the idea. Obviously, I'm desperately in love with this man, and he has been everything to me. Telling me to leave him right off the bat is not advice. Telling me I get what I deserve is not advice. I need help or courage, or both, to speak with him about this matter. How do I approach it? How do I say I don't like it? How do I say no? This may just be my anonymous rant, because I'm too scared to tell my best friend or therapist. So here I am telling strangers. Am I the asshole for telling a coworker that I'll go to HR if they keep pushing the Christmas adopt a family on me? My job has adopted a family for Christmas, and there are many options to choose from to get each adult and child. The gift options have started to fly off the board. Cool, but apparently someone has noticed that I haven't been joining in the conversation about what option they chose or what to buy a teenage boy/girl. I was asked if I chose something off the board, and I simply replied that I don't celebrate Christmas. Said coworker then said that it didn't matter if I celebrated or not, that it was a time for giving and we should help those who can't do for themselves. Now little background on me. I grew up extremely poor, as in when these holidays came around, it was nothing but misery for my siblings and I. Thanksgiving was just normal dinner for us unless we were forced to visit family, and we rarely got anything for Christmas. My mom felt that we needed to be around family during the holidays, so we were always forced to go over family's houses for Christmas and watch the kids have everything we never had. Some of my worst childhood memories were waking up on Christmas Day to nothing. We never had a tree or presents to put under it. Always having to hear my younger siblings cry from disappointment, and then being forced to go over a cousin's house and watch them open their gifts. Watching them get the things I always wanted and toss them aside to never look at them again. Being asked what I got for Christmas and trying to decide to lie to not embarrass my mom or be honest and have them pity us is not something a child should do. At some point my mom signed us up for these adopt a family/fire truck to bring gifts/whatever charity you could think of, just like the one my job is doing. She did for years, I know, as I was usually with her when she signed us up, and no one ever came through for us, ever. So it's safe to say that I feel some kind of way about these so-called charities and learned a couple of things early in life and vowed to never contribute these things, because no one cared about me and my siblings, so why should I care for anyone else this time or year? Why should I go out of my way to help when we were never helped? People metaphorically said fuck my mom and her kids, so fuck them and their kids. So back to my coworker. I told her that these people are not my responsibility, and if she felt so strongly about it, then to grab an extra card off the board. I know I shouldn't have said that, but the anger in me just spilled over. Then replied that I didn't have to be a Grinch, to which I said, if you keep harassing me about what I chose to not celebrate, then it will become an HR issue. The dropped it after that. Now I don't feel bad for what I said and I stand by how I feel. But honestly it kills me how self-righteous people can be about these things. Most just do it to make themselves feel better and think they changed a child's life with a $10 Walmart gift card. But I overheard some talking about the incident and it put me in a bad light. I know I don't owe anyone an explanation, but I didn't like hearing being talked about like that without any context. AITA for how I responded. Edit. I think some people are missing the point here. My job has adopted one family and the cards are a number of different things they want. So for the people who are saying that I'm ruining some kid's Christmas, you're wrong. They're getting stuff from everyone else, just not me. Also, just because I choose to not donate to random strangers, like most people choose not to do, doesn't mean I don't give back in other ways. My family is my priority, and they will be provided for first and foremost, and that taught me that me and mine will never come before anyone else's own family. They didn't owe us anything, and I'm simply adopting that same mindset. Anyone else who says otherwise is lying. My nieces and nephews will never know the hurt my siblings and I felt over the holidays. And finally, I work hard for my money, so I'm going to spend it how I like on whom I like. I just find it funny that some of you are so damn sanctimonious and hypocritical. How often do you donate, especially in this economy? Also, how often do you donate to poor children outside of the holiday season? As someone in the comments mentioned, there's more than just the holiday season that poor kids need things. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I won't be coming home for Christmas or any holiday? When I went to pre-K, I met a girl called Amy. We became BFFs right away and were always together. She was really close to my mom and I was really close to her parents. When Amy and I were 5, her mom died. It was really sudden and Amy was sad for so long after. She was the chattier friend of the two of us, but in that time I became that so she didn't have to be. We spent more time together than usual because her dad wanted her to have a friend close. As we got older I told her about my dad, how he never wanted to know me. And I confided that I didn't think my grandma liked me very much because of how mad she seemed when she told me about my dad. I confided in her about how much it hurt to be unwanted and rejected, and how I wished I could have a dad and a bigger family more than anything. Amy said she wished we were sisters, and the two of us jokingly called each other that by the time we were 8. We had so many sleepovers, we might as well have been sisters, because we were together more than we were apart. When we were 10, her dad and my mom started dating, and everything fell apart. Amy's whole wishing we were sisters thing wasn't so true, and she hated my mom for being with her dad. She started hating me as well. Over the next year and a half, while my mom and Amy's dad dated, Amy started bullying me. I begged my mom not to be with Amy's dad anymore, because it was so upsetting and stressful for me, and Amy turned so hateful to both of us. Mom got mad and said she deserved to be happy. After mom and Amy's dad got married, Amy's treatment of me and mom got worse. Amy even started spreading around school the stuff about my dad and my grandma, and she'd say in front of others that I was never going to have a dad, because even the one who was supposed to love me did everything not to be my dad. She said I was broken and unlovable. At home, she was so hateful and would get in my face and mock me and tell me she wished my mom had died instead of hers. She even accused me of making my mom and her dad get married when we didn't have school to go to. It was worse. 2020 to early 2022 was awful. I graduated high school in May, and I won a scholarship through this program I was a part of. I get a year paid for 100%, and I can possibly get 80% for each year after if I meet certain criteria. So I moved out of state for college, and now that I'm here, I don't want to go back. My mom didn't protect me. Amy dads didn't protect me. They put their happiness first, and it's not that I don't believe they should be happy, but it came at our expense and mostly mine because Amy would not leave me alone. My mom started calling me a week ago, which is the first I've heard from her in months, and she was talking about Christmas, and I told her I wasn't going home for Christmas or any holiday. She got so mad that I ended the call, but she texted saying I can't run away from this. Am I the asshole?